What up, y'all? It's the Normies coming at you. A little bit of The Wire, Season 1, Episode 4, Old Cases. Not to be confused with Cold Cases. This one's got one of my favorite endings. Get the fuck out of my coffee! What you doing?
I'm just seeing what's in your coffee.
Coffee!
You're super hype. I'm just seeing if you put anything extra special in that.
Shit, you ain't gonna find out. Shit. Anyway, hey y'all. This is another episode of The Wire. Here we go. It's 8 a.m. My eye swollen for the first time ever. I have my first eye.
Holy shit, it is swollen.
It is. It's all fat and juicy. And I'm excited because Le Wire. Hey, so here's the thing, guys. I know what you're thinking. I'm going to watch this instead of watching The Wire. Don't be a fucking idiot, all right? Literally, watch the show on your own and then come back and enjoy it with us. This is how it happens, okay?
Yep.
You want to sit here with a bunch of goof-offs talking the whole fucking time? You don't want that. You want to watch The Wire. Enjoy it the way it's meant to be enjoyed. Or amongst a group of goofs. Indeed. So what I'm saying is that this is not a market substitute. Make sure you support the OG content on your own. Also, feel free to support the Normies over on Patreon. Supporting us on Patreon means that you can get uncut and you get to watch ahead. And on top of that, we be doing skits because y'all help us do it, and that's awesome. So thank you for putting us on. You know, we out here. Run up, pull up the world clock. We're going.
We get on the other side, working from there.
He's always blowing shit.
2, 3.
I'm embarrassed for y'all.
Bro, you just can't take your legs apart.
It's caught on something, Lieutenant.
You get over there with Carl.
Jacket's coming off.
Right.
Y'all gonna get that thing, bro. There's no way.
You know who knows how to do it?
This man.
2.
Like Lester. He's like watching them struggle and
They're
like
like pushing.
Yeah, like what? Is there any strategy going into how they're getting this through?
More people.
You must have got wedged in the door somehow. But at this rate, we're never gonna get it in.
All of them just stumped.
In.
They were trying to get it out. They were trying to get it in.
Oh my god, they really were just pushing against each other.
Big dumbass morning at work.
This is why we can't. This is why we never get anything done.
Right?
This is us.
Kind of.
They're figurative desks being pushed and pulled in the same direction.
Be heard with the streetway charge.
You know how they got like the race car experience? I wish I had like the prison experience. Like just one day you go in there, experience
I can
prison.
give it to you if you want, bro. You can get locked up pretty easy.
No, but like you're safe about it. But like you know, you still experience prison.
What a like first world privilege. I still try to go to prison for a minute.
Check it out.
See what it's like.
So let me tell you, you won't enjoy it. How about that?
I don't want to go to prison.
Just commit a crime. They'll lock you up easy.
I want to commit a crime now.
Hey, Lieutenant, come have a
Is he dirty? We didn't really know for sure if he's dirty or not. He was told.
Daniels?
I mean, that looks pretty dirty.
Yeah, but I don't think he's dirty. Cause like
Old CIA dude told McNulty he was dirty.
FBI, but yes.
FBI.
I think he got set up, and now they think he's dirty.
Sort of, but remember he like made up the bullshit for the kid that lost his eye for the cop?
Yeah.
66 and 2
It's not clean.
I don't have to.
What do you say we go out together? What do you mean?
Go?
I mean, it only hurts for a minute. And it doesn't have to be line of duty either. I'm serious. You know those stairs where they send us down the basement? It's dark down there.
Don't get any ideas, guys.
Oh my god. Is he really trying to get workers' comp out of this?
My fucking neck like
Yep.
that. You don't break nothing.
But they got pensions and shit,
You do a
bro.
little dance in those steps.
This dude's good.
You're up to 2/3 with me. And maybe you sue the city. Get a little more.
What the fuck?
Can't say we don't deserve it.
This is crazy.
Don't.
5 in.
The cops fucked him up good. He punched one old dude.
Oh, I forgot he got the he's the one that got the shit beat out of him.
Yeah. This is super fucked up.
And Kima ran over there and started wailing on him too.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Kim was coming over to stop it. She was hauling ass to kick the fuck out of him.
No, right.
She was literally kicking up dirt. She was running so fast. But this man definitely has like a bruised rib or something.
He got a broken rib, police.
You think it's gonna be this easy, dog? Whoops, didn't see that line. It really is gonna be this
Fucking
easy.
flirty McJerkins over here.
Wait, he actually.
Hey!
Is it really this easy?
Yeah, we got
What
it.
the fuck?
How, bro?
There's no way it's this easy.
I only spent 8 hours in juvie, so I have no idea.
Your man's D, right?
D'Angelo, yeah.
This one's got a D as a possible shooter.
Why you cheesing, bro?
You got a witness. Puts her with a D the night she's ace.
What do you
How many D's do you think there are in the system, Jay? Where's the love, McNulty? Show me some fucking love. All right. Boy. He's my son.
Man, you trying to pull that shit out of there? Oh, you gonna get that ass kicked.
Well, the tower said it was Omar in the school. Omar? You ain't know Omar? Omar the Teller.
Got last name?
Just Omar.
It's like, see
Oh,
that?
he's just snitching on everybody now.
Miss Q, not tell me you don't remember no hard head. Damn, girl. What time you been believing that all these years? Right now, I am personally ashamed to be your snitch.
Is his name Bubs? Is that short for something?
Bubbles.
Bubbles.
I fucked up. Let go your name.
Saying I really kick you shouting me out. Everybody's projects been knowing no more, you heard? I just thought them coming down on y'all, baby boy.
Omar, the actor, is in Lovecraft Country also.
He's also in everything on HBO.
Yeah, The Night of.
Fucking
every
Chalky White.
HBO show.
Boardwalk Empire. Community.
Hey, yo, Mike. Look at sister up, yo.
He was in an episode of Community.
Yeah.
You man, huh?
Is he?
What, you didn't catch that already?
I mean, which one of y'all treat y'all friends like that?
That
If
girl,
I-
not baby.
What? What?
Hey man, gangsters can be gangsters.
He one of them homosexuals?
He's one
Like
of
the
them
guy
Bro, he
goddamn
says at the
sexuals.
top. Bro, you can't be like that.
Homosexual.
People won't respect you.
That's nuts.
They
I would
gonna
never
have
have
to.
thought that.
Omar will come rob and rape your ass. How you gonna act if that nigga come to your door?
You know how the crack motherfuckers do? When they kill a deer, got him on the front of the truck, tied up, stretched out, so everybody can see it. Serious. That's what I want. I want that motherfucker on display. We send a message to the courtyard about this motherfucker, so people know we ain't playing.
About Omar?
Yeah, we got
Pretty sure.
money. You tell them it's $1,000 and it's a deuce on Omar.
2K for a murder don't feel
That's
like
not
it.
that much though. This is 2002 still. That still ain't much at all.
So he got a lot of heart for a cocksucker, huh? We're doubling down on Sweet Lips. Make it $4 motherfucking $1,000 on him.
See, it's toxic masculinity.
Sweet Lips.
Say no more.
Yeah, bro.
So with my nephew. I don't know. I mean, he doing good. He making that money
The
out the
pit's
hole.
so being watched and shit.
He might have a problem he don't know about.
They don't know it yet, though. That the
Yeah,
pit's
at
being
least
watched. They got ran up on that one day, but they don't know if they're being surveilled. Although,
They should know.
Stringer Bell just said, he said maybe. I mean, but they all know where they sell it. They come there all the time. They've seen the cops there on a regular.
Oh, what?
Hey, Mikey. How are ya? Who's with it?
There, 4-1.
4-1?
Man, you better go.
I see your wife. You might be in there looking too. What the fuck happened?
I forgot they might have mentioned this before.
You're late. I thought you weren't gonna come this time either.
This job, you know this job. I need more than every other weekend, Elaine. He needs me more than that, so does Sean.
I'm not giving up any more weekends, okay? 50-50 splits. All my lawyer says I have to get...
It's not 50-50 if I don't see him all goddamn week. You see him every day, he gets
Don't
up.
curse at me. My lawyer says...
Fuck your lawyer.
Fuck you.
You said not to curse. Fuck you.
Man, 50-50 is not every
No,
other
I
weekend.
don't know.
I'm just saying.
It should be every weekend.
But also, McNulty is, I mean, my man's late. He's showing up at work on him.
It's good for you.
But he has a job.
He's also like kind of an alcoholic, right?
But we don't
literally-
know. We don't know if
How
he's
many times have you
alcoholic.
seen him be an alcoholic?
Okay, but what is he gonna do at nighttime when he has got nothing else to do? What do you got to do?
Try to be a better dad, motherfucker. I don't know.
Why you gotta go there?
So there was this little shorty who used to stay out there. This was a shorty my uncle was messing with. Till she found out that my uncle got another little shorty ran away. So she goes off the hook and shit talking about she gonna call the police, start talking about shit she ain't supposed to know about. So they rolled me out past her crib. They showed me how she lives right on the ground floor, right? I go creeping around the back to the back window. So I pulled out the piece and I start tapping with the back of it on the window. Sure enough, she comes out. She has a robe, and as she's slipping on the robe, she turns on the light. And you know when she does that, and it's light on the inside, she can't see shit on the outside.
Vertigo shot?
Dang.
Dolly's in, baby.
What happened? He shot her.
Did you?
Nigga, you sick. Just shut up. I'm just saying.
He's like, nigga, you goddamn lie. You ain't
Yeah, I don't know if that's
nobody,
true.
boy.
Hey,
You know, I bet you Avon killed her, or it was Paul's Stinger.
Story. And these
Yeah, you
shots.
see that shot where it was all dollying in?
Man, I don't believe
Vertigo? I think he might have been lying about
Yeah,
this
bro.
story, I think.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think he shot the woman.
We saw it. Wasn't that the picture of the woman we saw at the lake with McNulty? I don't know.
Was that the same woman?
Oh yeah, there was a woman in the
Yes.
beginning. Yeah, remember to the chest. And they're talking about it might be deep.
You ever go outside too much?
And then it was her.
Oh.
That's the case he just got.
Such as the Able Foundation, to want my brothers on the board.
coming, goddamn.
Knocking like the police.
Open the damn door. Open the door.
Oh, Jesus.
What? Open the motherfucking door.
Oh my god, you guys are so stupid. Covered in hot shit.
Kind woman.
She just gotta sit back down.
He's like, there ain't nothing here. I don't know what the fuck you guys doing. I'm gonna do my laundry. Fuck you, mother.
So not right.
Tell Bodie we're on his ass.
I'm sorry for cursing at the door. I mean, I couldn't see that it was only you.
Is it the drugs again?
Damn, she's so used to it. She's so used to it.
Preston came to me when my daughter died. He was 4 years old, but even then, I knew he was angry.
Preston.
His mother lived out there, caught up in it. After a while, you couldn't make us see nothing else.
If Preston comes past, give him this and tell him we need to talk, okay?
Tell him we need to beat him like a redheaded stepchild.
Look at this. Hercus Mia. Plus 10 humanity.
Yeah, he actually, it was nice of him to
While Carver's out here smoking a cigarette. That shit wasn't us. What the fuck y'all talking?
It's also very sad that Bodie's grandma is just so used to police coming up in there. Yeah. It's like, is he on drugs again?
First of all, it's not Jimmy's fault.
No?
No. Jimmy is an addict, sir.
What's he addicted to?
Himself. He has come to believe that he is always the smartest fuck in the room. Because, let's face it, he's not going to Johns Hopkins or joining Mensa. He's taking a fucking job with the Baltimore Police Department. He's in
Sounds like a hater.
Heavy duty. He can't help it. It makes him an asshole. It's also what makes him good police.
Oh, shit.
There we go.
Okay.
Curveball.
Alright, that's a return.
He's like, I
Motherfucker
fucking
took
hate
me
him,
on
but
the
he
roller
does his
coaster
job.
over.
Yeah. You wanna know why he's an asshole? He does his job well.
He
Does
does
a nice
that.
little compliment sandwich thing.
Man just got a clean slate.
Alright. Thank you, guy.
He said if he tell him to finish the bullshit detail in 2 weeks. Lester. Oh, yeah.
That was a mistake. We just dumb. That's your page, Emma. Should be me. It's me. Yo, watch that shit on my head.
Ray's always ahead of step.
You guys remember how he got this number?
No, I don't remember how he got the number.
I think he tells us later. We'll see.
So who's no hard at?
No hard ran drugs in the homes in the early 90s. So a couple of years back, I don't know why, he finds himself in Randallstown trying to take off a jewelry store. I guess No Hard figures he's not up for doing the time, puts a 4-4 against his chest, pulls the trigger. 44? It's a contact wound. Wakes up 2 hours later and refers to ER.
With a new nickname, Mike.
He still won his wedding
His
ring.
brother who took off with the bar still stashed the other night.
He's not undercover.
It's on his right hand.
It's not the easiest trade.
Yeah, but he's not married because he's divorced.
Maybe he's a sad boy.
Maybe he likes
Man like
it.
that is likely to have a wedding.
Maybe it was expensive.
Bro,
Bro, don't be dumb. You're gonna die. I hope you die for this shit because you know what? People like that, because that's just dumb.
We're gonna have to sell this.
What that is?
Listen to you more than me.
Bro, don't do it.
not worth it, man.
What's it
Fucking flap your eyebrows and fly away.
Flap your eyebrows.
Looks like an angry bird.
We could try to clone a couple of pages and see what that checks.
They get beat, we get beat. We see who's calling from what number.
If these guys are all that, why are they still using pagers? Why not and ask a few dollars for cell phones?
It's a discipline.
Oh, here it comes.
You can't bug a pager.
But you can't make a call with a page either.
You're gonna want a pen register on all the pay phones in the low rises, and any other phones that link to the pages.
What would it take to do the pages?
Wiretap affidavit. I think we got enough PC from the hand-to-hands and surveillance. We got most of the exhaustion. Exhaustion is a legal requirement for using electronic intercepts. We gotta prove nothing else works. See, we did the raids, we made the arrests, but nobody flipped. We don't have an informant who takes us anywhere above the street. That's pretty much exhaustion.
All we got left to do now is to follow one of these mopes and to prove to ourselves that we can't do it.
I like learning
See,
these
in front of
terms.
a judge,
Yep.
We can't make, how can we keep on any of them when they go up in those towers?
But you gotta show you tried.
Balls in your court.
Do we have a pager number?
Yes, he does.
This is written on the stash house wall with the letter D next to it.
Is that D'Angelo? Did you check it?
It's it.
Wow.
Freeman's so cool.
With the sweater vest on.
Good police work. No one else saw that name and number written on the wall?
Well, when they were in the stash house after Omar robbed it, no one was paying attention because they weren't fucking. Oh, yeah. Lester shows up.
So wait, I'm still like, you know, not really into like law and stuff like that. You can show a judge like proof, and you can just tap.
No, I mean they have to be in a criminal investigation, but you have to prove. Apparently, back then that you tried everything you could try before you tap them.
You have to prove that like no other methods will work.
Yes, I don't like that. I don't like that because you can bullshit that.
You got people watching.
I mean,
you,
bad
like,
cops could
tapping
just,
you.
you know.
Also, Lester, he's like a very detail-oriented man. Like I love that they make him like the little woodworker.
Is it Lester or
Lester Freeman?
Yeah, the fact that he's like a woodworker shows why he's able to notice details nobody else can.
Did you know Lester Freeman?
They just said his name.
He's with us on this Barksdale thing. I thought you said they gave you humps. He looks like a hump. He acts like a hump, sitting there playing with his toy furniture.
He's smart as fuck, bro.
Jimmy, today in roll call, he showed something. He's natural police. He used to be homicide. Why did he leave? Ask him.
Ooh, he's got a story.
Confirmed.
He's got a story. Hey, it's exactly how he described it, though. This is kind of how he. Yeah, this is pretty much exactly how he described it.
He could
tapping on the window, and then she came close, and then.
He can witness it. His brother or Stinker did it.
Yeah, you could have
It's his
someone
uncle.
else do it. Yeah.
Shot came from the window.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
Came from inside.
Came from outside inside.
Oh, okay, they just. Oh, okay. Nice.
That's so. Hey, how'd you?
He was marking the body.
Damn.
Oh fuck.
That's
fuck. Are we gonna get demonetized for this?
Beautiful display of the word fuck.
Man, I wish I could say fuck that many times.
Motherfucker. Fucking
fuck. This is like Detroit Become Human, but regular police work to retrace exactly what happened.
Bro, this is such a great scene. They're just all like looking around, fuck, figuring it out slowly.
Got a bullet.
Motherfucker.
So they didn't even, the people who shot didn't even take the bullet out, they just like fucking hit it.
Fuck you.
I mean, typically after you shoot a person, you don't go looking for the bullet you shot it with.
Fuck.
I like that they're partners so much they don't have to talk. They know exactly what's up.
And they just say fuck. And they know when to say fuck.
Find a cigarette butt or some shit.
Bro, this is
If
so
you tapped on the
cool.
window, right? You had to be close.
Dog shit. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, the bullet case would have flew out.
Oh, they measured back how far, oh my.
Signals on foot. The plan is to stay on the Angelo.
Just to make sure, we want to lose him, right? Losing him is good.
Right.
Then why the fuck do this?
Cause you gotta do it. Fuck.
For the exhaustion.
Didn't you go to the tower at like 2:30 in the morning and start causing a ruckus? Or was
Yeah, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go back either, but.
How long you been in the pawn shop unit? 13 years and 4 months. 13 years and 4 months. I gotta ask you, what exactly does a police officer assigned to the pawn shop unit do?
You can take reports from registered pawn shops on all items valued over $50. Then you make an index card for that item. Then you file that index card. If someone wants to find out if something stolen has been pawned, we look to see if we have an index card. If we do, we do. If we don't, we don't.
You did that for 13 years?
And 4 months.
Why'd you ask out of homicide?
With no ask about it.
What'd you do to piss him off?
Police work.
Damn.
I think I need to buy you a drink.
Just one?
He's like, son, you're gonna need to open a new bank account for this liquor.
I wish we had Lester when our shit got stolen from the studio.
Right, Lester.
We got several pawn shops around town.
Turned out he was the son of one of the big editors over the News and America.
Oh.
This man is running the afternoon newspaper, and his son is getting all fucked up, doing the dirt and getting high down on Locust Point. The deputy, who I guess is in a favor-doing mood, sends word down to the major. I'm supposed to make the case without defense. Just the print hits and the statement.
So he's doing this for what? Have some newspaper guy in his pocket? So what did you do?
I charged him with receiving, then had his ass testify.
Well, you could have made the case without him. Just on the prints and the statements.
Probably.
Why didn't you?
Because I'm a good
Why
cop.
are you fucking up yourself chasing Abe on Barksdale?
He's the smartest guy in the room. He can't help himself.
So why they let you out of the box? Why now?
I guess I just forgot about it.
Yeah, I just forgot. It's been 13 years.
Right.
In 4 months.
Oh shit, Lester son?
Yeah, it's like you were the one that did. Oh.
Meant to bring you back.
Says you're natural police.
I wonder if we're gonna see the newspaper guy in the fence, like the fence or whatever.
Detective, when they ask you where you want to go,
Tell
they
the opposite.
ask you where you want to go. Do yourself a favor. Keep your mouth shut.
Love Lester.
Oh, what? Whoa. Man, oh my God. Move it. Yeah, give me.
Is Kima there?
And you are?
Tell her it's McNulty.
That's exactly what that face said.
Boy, you looking a decidedly confused white boy.
McNulty.
See what you thought you was doing here late night, McNulty? What's going on?
Yeah, we're binging, bro.
How'd it go today?
Lost him in the 221. Picked him back up in the low rises and then lost him on Shoulder Street after dark.
Nicely done.
You could have called, bro.
Are you okay to drive?
Yeah, fine. I just wanted to, wanted to thank you.
You should be thanking Lester.
Oh, I did. I just wanted to thank you too, Detective Griggs.
No problem. Good night.
That it is.
That it is, he cannot drive.
We should all just be over this man drinking and driving. I mean, how many times have we seen him sober in the car is probably the question.
They need to stop.
You didn't make it into class again today. You said you'd stick with it.
I'm trying.
You said yourself you needed to do something else. Something very fast.
You know better women than you are falling for my tricks, right?
Oh, the tricks now.
Let's do the things where I cover your titties so that the camera does not see.
Oh, no, I saw it. I saw a nipple.
Side boob.
Hey, now it's a discussion.
Yeah.
You guys think
This
about
was
old
a
Lester
really
Freeman?
good episode. I love Lester.
Yeah, it was.
Lester number 1.
Lester dope.
Well shot episode indeed.
Yeah, we got to learn a little bit about good old Lester.
Yeah.
Lester is cool. I like learning more about him. You know, finally, McNulty's like, we need to get a fucking drink. Like,
Right.
you're one of them good cops.
They're natural police.
Hold the phone, we got a good cop.
Yeah, and then I still don't know if D's the one that shot old girl through the window.
No, I think
But he like said the story so perfectly.
No,
because
because he said he tapped on the glass and the gun was not point blank. It was clearly like.
But I mean, he could have moved the gun back. That doesn't, that doesn't exonerate anybody. You could tap on the glass for him to hear you, but then line up your shot.
Step back. You see how long that.
But that was where the casing went.
The case flew
After you,
okay,
the casing's gonna fucking. That's why they were doing the measurement.
Gotcha,
Your casing's gonna fly way the fuck back.
Then yeah, I don't know. Maybe he saw it, or maybe he did do it. Maybe he's hard out here.
And what he said, he had a fucking 44, big ass fucking gun.
Yeah.
That case will.
Well, now they have the bullet and everything, so they can like trace it back. Possibly if the gun is, I don't know.
If the gun is still around and in service.
Did he say he had a 44?
Yeah.
He said he's big boy.
Man, the scene of them basically just Batmaning it out, just full detective mode, like fuck.
I love that scene because like they're like slowly like figuring everything out. Like it was clicking in their head, like oh my god, fuck.
Was the bullet in the wall still?
So they went in. All right. So the fridge, what they did at the end, the fridge was closed. Like if she was standing there and she got shot and she like pushed the door backwards to the fridge, it would swing back and then close. Yep. And they were saying that in the beginning, they're like, oh man, the dude barely did any fucking like work on this case. So he probably didn't open the fridge. And then when the people came to renovate the apartment after the shooting, they were probably like, oh, there's a hole in the fridge. So then they just covered up the hole in the fridge. And they didn't think about it. You know what I mean? So it's like if homie who was there the first time was a better detective, maybe he would have been like, oh, I'm just going to check inside the fridge because there was milk on the floor too.
Yeah, why didn't you check inside the fridge?
Because motherfucker didn't give a fuck. He was just like, oh, whatever, I'm here, dead body, blah, blah, take a couple pictures. Time to fire him. Fire him? How many cops you seen get fired? Prespolusky beat the kid, lost his eyeball. Whole eyeball hanging out his head.
Can't see it.
He's in the office.
Too, like, what does it take for someone to get in trouble around here or something? Like
what does it take for someone to
get fired? And he said doing police work? Yeah. That's what Lester got in trouble for.
Yeah,
Lester got sent to the pawn shop for doing his fucking job.
I was gonna say, I knew when he was telling that story, it's like you should not have told them where you don't want to go. Honestly,
Right.
Like,
And when they ask you where you want to go, because they gonna ask.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. You about to lose your job.
So it's a way to see Lester as like a future McNulty. because it's like he's telling them he's like he was like, why was you doing all that? And he was like, why are you chasing Avon? To just be like, to telling him he's like, look at where I'm at. It's 13 years and 4 months. It could be you, man. Just listen. Like
13 years and 4 months. But you know what? At least you do some good work though.
Pushing paperwork in the pawn shop?
Well, I mean, he solved the case, so he's going to solve the case.
Oh, you mean, what are you talking about? The old school case?
Yeah.
I mean, was it worth it for him, motherfucker?
It's been a boring 13 years.
He was like, I want to be outside. This man is like making furniture every day, begrudgingly.
He's
and then
bored.
Bunk said he makes more money doing that than he does on the job. So he's just double dipping now.
He's like,
he didn't even need to be there.
Yeah.
He just likes the environment of cops and cop breath.
I think he just got lucky to be assigned to this because this was supposed to be a shit team anyway.
Yep.
This was like a hodgepodge, and then they probably forgot about him.
They forgot my boy was a beast out here.
Yeah, give him fucking Lester. He's a pawn shop noob. Like, oh, how'd he get in the pawn shop?
Right.
Forgot how Lester's out here fucking
Lester's
boys
the
up
OG.
there.
Yeah. Fucking Bodie leaving the boys' school.
Dude, the way he got
smoothest
there's
criminal
no way
out
security's not that.
So was that
hard.
juvie or prison?
I don't know,
Juvie.
bro. Maybe because it's like Juve.
It was definitely Juvie.
So then it stopped.
Maybe it was
It
a lot
easy.
easier. Everyone's just kind of like,
Yeah.
not paying attention there.
Like a shit
But
ass
like
Juvie.
the dude is literally like sweating and bleeding and like barely pushing them off. Nobody noticed that like the janitor's like dying.
People don't watch the house.
And then on top of that too, he's supposed to be wearing all gray, so he didn't put on the uniform, so he didn't look like he was supposed to be there.
Right.
So like just at a glance, everybody else had on all gray, right? It's like when when people are in prison, they're all wearing orange, right? It's to easily identify that person as a prisoner. So if someone's like, on the outside, on the edges, close to the doors, but not wearing all orange, you're not gonna even look at him. You'd be like, yeah, I mean, dude's supposed to be in all gray. He's not in all gray. He's probably not supposed to be here.
Also, the ball's on him because like if you just admitted him in there, you're gonna be like, all right, let him get settled. You're not gonna pay attention. He literally spent 2 minutes in there.
Right. He was like, a mop.
Yeah.
And then he was just full incognito. Like, what?
That's it for Punch a Cop. So that's what Kima was. They were trying to. So
you're under 18.
What they were saying was that they were trying to get all the younger juvies that they picked up in that bust in the last episode to like roll up to like snitch on the people above them. But because they're all juveniles, they know they can't get charged with adult cases, so they got no reason to actually snitch.
Yeah.
So they won't do it. And then when they finally got to old boy, they were like, "Yeah, we'll put 5 extra years on you." He was just like, "I'll fucking take it." So like, they can't get anyone to roll up to the top because they're disciplined, man. Even with the fucking pagers, it's just pure discipline all through the ranks.
And to know you have friends in jail type shit.
But
Like,
poor his grandmother though. Sorry.
Yeah, Bodie's grandma. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Desensitized.
Like you keep doing this shit, and your grandma's like, "Is it the drugs again?" And I'm like, "Oh my god!" Even Herc of all people felt bad. He's like, "Man, I just want to apologize."
The Grinch grew a heart that day. He had to be like, "Oh, look." And then come out there, Carver's like, "What was you doing in there?" And he's like, "Talking." He's like,
"It's like
talking?
What? What the fuck is that?"
You used words? Didn't we say we was gonna beat him like a redhead stepchild?
I think Carver said that.
Yeah, right.
A redhead stepchild.
And then you heard about Bodie's mom. She died when he was 4.
Well, it said she was out in the streets and she couldn't see nothing else. So either she was doing the drugs or
So that's what's gonna happen to the woman that fucking Omar was like hook up the sister with the baby. You see she's struggling, the baby's crying and stuff. Like what?
Yeah.
You ain't doing anything.
I mean,
You're not hooking up the sister. You're ruining her life.
She was gonna go get it from somewhere else. At least she didn't have to pay Omar. It's a shit show. It's an absolute shit show. Not even a question. So like you can't even be like, oh, did Omar do a good thing?
But no, hold on, didn't I thought Omar gave her a loan.
No, Omar gave her drugs.
No, she said my check is short. My check didn't come in. So I thought she was
She
asking
gave
for a
her money
loan.
for the drugs.
No, she asked him for money.
She did ask him for money, but I can't remember. Did she ask him? Does anybody remember?
Yeah,
Did he give her money or drugs?
It was money because he said my check came in late. I need like.
I was honestly thinking that she just wanted a front on her drugs.
Yeah, I do not recall. We can go back and look, but
Omar gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that, low key.
Why are you surprised by that?
I mean,
Pat don't believe there could be gay gangsters.
No, here's the thing. If you're
Pat
gonna be
don't
like,
believe
no,
in gay
let me
gangsters.
explain. If you're gonna be like, Al Pacino, nobody gonna respect your ass if you're gay. Like no one's gonna like lead, like follow you as a leader.
Oh yeah, that's
But he's
you're not gonna get other tough motherfuckers follow me.
But he's got 2 motherfuckers with him right now.
But like actions speak louder than where you put your dick. Like I think it makes him more terrifying too. I mean, first of all, you don't.
Man, this guy's gonna rob you and rape you. I'm scared.
It is surprising because you don't see that.
Should
often.
he so
Like,
want
that's pretty. That's a cool fact about him. Even when Avon was talking about him, you heard him calling him the the F word we're not allowed to say.
Call them a cocksucker.
Yeah.
This cocksucker got less use for pussy.
Sweet lips.
See, that's how
and then what did they do? They put more money on him.
Yeah.
So it's like at first they were respecting him and they're like, yeah, kill him for $2,000. But then they're like, oh, he's gay. So like him being gay is fucking emasculating them. It makes them feel worse because they were like, not only were we robbed by a dude, we're robbed by a gay dude. It's like if they got robbed by a woman, they'd be like, oh fuck, bro, because like that makes it because the toxic masculinity shit is already there, right? So when the streets talk about you, when the streets are like, bro, I heard the Avon crew got hit, and they're like, damn, when they get hit by some real gangster, some badass motherfucker like Omar, and the motherfucker's like, oh fuck, I'm afraid of Omar. Oh shit, also Omar's gay. They got robbed by a gay dude because you know that they give a fuck about it. Them giving a fuck about it means everybody else gives a fuck about it. So like it makes them feel like they're perceived as weaker, and people look at them like they're fucking weaker. While Omar's like, I don't give a fuck.
Omar, I'll get my bullets and glitter, bitch. I don't give a fuck. Omar is out here, bro.
It's like getting body slammed by gold dust.
He owns up to it so well, though. He owns up to it. It's like I just love that. Like for this time, I don't know when the show came out. I'm really happy that like there's like Kima and her partner and like Omar.
2002.
I love that.
2002. Yeah. And
this is great.
It's dope shit. Omar is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little surprised personally, but like, I didn't like, I think it was great. I was like, oh, look at him rocking his shit.
I mean, I'm not gonna be like, I'm not okay with this. I'm just like, it was cool. I didn't expect that. Especially for like the show this old.
Yeah, I didn't expect for the show this old. That's when they said the F word, I'm like, hold up, because Kobe got in trouble for this, and that's like.
Oh my god, when they said the F word, I was like, okay, this is how I know how old this
Kobe
show
got in
is.
trouble for
And
that?
how sensitive.
Kobe did got in trouble for that.
What was he talking about?
He called some player the F word, and he got in trouble for that.
I mean,
but that was like in 2004, 2005, so like it was like it was like.
I mean, people call each other. The time doesn't matter. You knew it was bad then.
But it was allowed to say it.
You was not.
I don't know.
Bro, you said it.
South
I
Park
did when I was younger and I grew the fuck up. Just like people literally, it's like this. When people are like, oh man, people used to call each other nigger back in the day, like to like insult like white people. They didn't know any better. They knew better. You knew better. You fucking knew it. You were using it as an insult. You clearly knew. To use a word as an insult, you probably know it's a bad word, right? Like,
but not the F word, because I used the F word when I was younger.
I mean, people, I did too. And then you grew up, and you're like, oh, this word has been used to subjugate people. I should probably stop
now.
Just don't.
It was weird to me, and I was like, I feel like I can't, but it was like.
I mean, I'll let them. It's like, yeah, whatever.
But a fag is also a cigarette.
If you're British.
Yeah. I thought it was French. I don't smoke those death sticks.
I forgot that.
You shouldn't.
But like, I think that like the proper introduction of like Omar for like this dude is cool. Also, he's based off of a real person, and his brother No Hard Anthony is fucking. He has just got like a dope story.
That's Omar's brother. It's No Hard Anthony.
Yeah, that's why
the one
I was
that
asking.
with the 44 on this.
Yeah, that's why if you're paying attention, you would have learned Omar's last name because he was like Omar ain't got no last name. He's like nah, and he's like it's young. No Hard Anthony's brother, and then they started having the conversation, and then they say Anthony's last name. I don't know why I'm not telling you guys. It's literally not a big deal.
Gertrude. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I thought that was like his. I thought we were about to see his origin into the story, but I guess he's been around for a while. He's like the diva.
Yeah, everybody knows Omar's name. Everybody knows Omar's name.
Right, Omar wasn't even tripping about it.
Right?
I'm sorry I said your name. Shit, nigga, they know me.
Yeah. It's cool.
Cool to see. I really thought Omar was gonna kill him because when he said that.
I'll see an origin story on Omar.
That's
I mean, that shit.
I want to see an origin story.
Fun fact: there is a literal like 2-minute long prequel thing that I found in the extras. So
let's put it on.
I'll show it to you guys later.
Also, I don't think we didn't know McNulty was married with 2 kids, Micky and Sean, right?
Or divorced, right?
I know he was divorced.
He definitely said he had kids. He was talking with somebody.
Oh yeah.
Why is he still wearing the wedding ring?
He's on his other hand. Maybe he's hopeful of getting back together with his lover.
Nah, they interacted.
Hey, well, hope.
I think they're done.
Hope.
Also, McNulty.
Where his ex-wife lives is like super nice.
Yeah.
That means she took all the money
on the floor, basically.
I like that you're standing for McNulty off tops when literally all we see this man do is work and drink.
But he's married to his job. Is there anything wrong with that?
Yeah, he needs to be married to his wife first.
There you go. There's a wife.
But they're divorced.
But does the job? Yeah, they're divorced first off.
Honestly, bro, Again,
She said, "You know this job." I'm just saying.
I'm gonna say it again. 50-50 is not every other weekend. That's not fair to the kid.
No, 100%. I'm here to agree with you all day long. But also, like, if McNulty was your husband, how often are you gonna trust him with your kids? Like, I'm sorry. From what we have seen right here on the screen, that all he's done. I know the man's fucking history, and I ain't even like touching any of that. All this shit. From what we've seen just right here, you gonna need to. He's fit to be with the kids.
Yes, I would trust him with my kids. Can I tell you why I would trust him with my kids? A, you saw when he got out of the car trying to chase those guys when he was drunk. He knew he would use limits. Second, B, he's a good guy. He was not one of those like he's doing something good. Like when no one's like he's like genuinely a good guy. So you would like be okay. Like he would know not to fuck around the kids.
Probably wouldn't drink and drive. I feel like he's been doing terribly.
Huh?
We literally, this is the first time, what are we on, episode 5? You seen this man interact with his kids for the first time? You seen him wake up in that fucking shit-ass apartment with the bed on the floor?
Okay, but
his house is
he can't take care of 2 houses?
He also, he's lonely, bro. He's lonely, bro. He showed up to Kima's after he was drinking with Lester.
So
just to say thank you. I mean, like, it was a good gesture, but also he's got nowhere to go.
I mean, you can even tell with his wife's coat that she lives in a much nicer house than him somehow. Like,
she didn't even shake Bubbles' hand. She was like,
she's like,
and I love Bubs, Bubs. But if I was gonna go pick up my kids, I literally wouldn't bring Bubs with me.
There ain't no way in hell.
A guy with life lessons.
Nah, man.
Hey guys, sit in the back with this snitch fucking dope fiend and
don't mind the scars on his nose.
Right? Yeah, we can talk about this later, and then I'll tell you about how you shouldn't bring your work home with you. Like I'm
just saying, there's nothing wrong being married to this job.
It's a good time to
there is when you're supposed to be married to a person. When you're supposed to have other affiliations.
Well, I don't know what happened to them, but I assume the job.
No, and I mean they don't. I'm not giving away anything, but I'm just saying that like he has true dedication to his work, and I feel like. All you see this man do is drink and work.
One thing I want to say too about that. Well, first of all, I was surprised that big fat white guy kind of covered for him.
Yeah.
And second, when he was talking about that, he said McNulty's the smartest person in the room. I mean, that's what he thinks, but I hope McNulty doesn't think that because sometimes that can be a deterrent. You're never supposed to think you're the smartest person in the room. But I mean, I don't know. He does good police work. So I don't know. Maybe he still has yet to be humbled. You know what I mean? I think there's a line that he can cross. Like I know, like this whole show is kind of about like people unfortunately trying to know their role or whatever, then needing to stick in the role, and it's good what McNulty's doing. But I'm sure we're gonna see some bad side to him pushing so much.
I think Lester humbled him. Like I think when Lester finally came, it was just like bam, 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 facts to all your questions. Like he's like, oh shit. No. Yeah, I need a drink with this dude. Like, respect, G. Like, what?
You didn't even one part of the team.
So we need to get a drink. One.
My man's drinking and driving is just like I like that. It's not even like a question for him. He's just like, bro, that's just like.
I know drinking and driving was always bad, but back in the day it was not as bad. Like that. And the times that were in, and the times that we're in.
Was it illegal?
It was illegal, but it wasn't.
Okay.
But it wasn't like
It's not
the perception. The perception of how drinking and driving is now. It's not. It was back in the day. Back in the day, it was like it was bad to drink and drive, but people still did it. No, back in the day, in this time frame, that time frame,
2002. I'm just saying, if it was illegal, people knew it was bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was like
He's saying less of my friends hated me when I did it then than they do now.
I wasn't even allowed to drink and drive back then because I was in drinking age, just 2002. But I knew a lot of people, older people, adults, who drank and drive because it's not as big.
I understand what you mean. Just because it was more popular back then, I don't think people didn't think it was as bad as it was.
I think we were just dumb kids. I mean,
no.
He's talking about like adults.
Shit-faced.
This was 2002, so we were definitely not about that.
When I was 18, bro.
But we were 18. 2002 was
swigging bottles behind the wheel.
Yeah, but that was actually really bad. Like we were known to drinking to our heads. Like drinking and driving is bad. But like in 2002, when you had adults who were older than us, we were not even drinking age. They were drinking and driving.
No, they weren't.
No. I mean, I think that drinking and driving used to be more of a problem back then. But I know you're trying to give them a cut and being like they didn't know it was as
There's
bad.
There's still people who drink and drive.
We've always known this was bad. Since cars have existed, we've known this was bad. It took one day for cars to exist and people to be like, hey, probably
last thing we didn't mention was Daniels and the other police chief, the black police chief. Burrell. So what's the word on that? He was trying to get an easy out. He was like, hey, what do you want me to do? Basically, like, I'll do it. We'll back out. We'll keep pushing. So, and then he missed the putt stroke. So I don't know what that meant.
But then after that, you saw them go to work on getting the information for the wire affidavit.
Yeah. So Burrell was like, all right, keep doing it.
I think so, but it's only because Phelan won't take an easy answer. So like, if the judge was like, yeah, that's fine, then he'd give it up. But the judge is like, yo, Burrell, I need more than this. And then Burrell's like, well, we did the buy and bust. And he's like, it's not fucking enough. So then Burrell's got to go down to Daniels.
So literally,
like, Daniels.
Only because McNulty got the judge's interest piqued.
Yes.
Is the reason this case is
the only reason. And the only reason McNulty did it was because, I think, quote him, he was like, yeah, they beat me in a case a couple of, like, months back. So he was just kind of shitty about it.
The exhaustion clause, that's still around?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Also, I mean, the Patriot Act has happened since then, so it's probably less than that.
Also, watch the social networking documentary, Social Dilemma on Netflix, because they have everything on us, bro.
I heard about that.
They got it. They got it all. They know everything.
And they selling it.
Is that the show where they say like?
So at this point, though, should we be able to profit from our data we give to them? We should be able to get money for that. You know what I mean? Like,
well, here's the reason why you can't. Everybody else gives it away for free. So yours is worth nothing because everyone else gives it away for free.
Social media, the reason it's free is because you are the product.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I get you there. So then, should we get at least some sense, like for every day that we get a few dollars?
Pat, you're a business person. Would you pay for information that people give you for free?
No, but I'm just saying, can we all, as collectively, as a fucking group, put our hands down and say, no, so much on team, then to pay us.
See, and here's the thing, too. Even if you stop using social media, I guarantee you that they can use our social medias to tell that there's a person we hang out with that doesn't use social media.
But can we not, like, we got a pretty big clout. Can we all just take a big...
You mean all 7 billion of us together?
True. Together, make a stand.
We can't save the environment, Pat. I doubt we can all get off Facebook together.
Yeah, we can't get like 5 million people to agree on a single thing.
Trying to shut down the internet in 2020, that's the last thing anyone fucking wants.
Well, guys, we're about to pop another. We got just enough time for it. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
All right, so The Wire, Season 1, Episode 4. Let's talk about it. The episode starts off with a really good scene. It's the scene where Herc is trying to push the desk into his office, and it's a good scene for many reasons. One, it's a kind of a comic relief scene, a little bit of levity before we get into the serious stuff, and you also see everybody kind of joining in on the task. Even Daniels comes in and joins in, and it's just a moment of like camaraderie forming between the team. But the more important part of the scene is they're trying to push the desk in from both sides. And then at the end, Herc finally reveals that he was trying to push the desk into the office, and everybody was like, you didn't tell us that. So they ended up working against each other because of a lack of communication, and that's kind of what's happening with the different departments in the police force, is that the different departments don't communicate with each other. Even though their cases might be connected, they don't really know that, and there's no communication in between the departments, so sometimes they unintentionally end up working against each other because of a lack of communication. So that was a really good scene. And then we cut to the courtroom where they are processing all the people that they arrested with the hand-to-hand arrest on that big mission that they did the other day. And they're interested in one guy because he's got a lot of priors and he might be they might be able to break him, and so they threaten him with the highest level of punishment for his crime, which was 5 years. And by the way, this scene is a very realistic portrayal of a courtroom. There's nothing really fancy about it. It's just the inner workings of a courtroom. You see so much paperwork on the judge's table, or I mean with the lawyers, but it's a lot of paperwork, you know what I mean? There's no glitz and glamour to this show. They just show you how things happen as they happen. And at the end, the guy is willing to go to jail for 5 years rather than talk, because one, if he talks, they'll kill him. But two, he knows if he doesn't talk and does his time and comes out, he's probably going to be really well taken care of. And I want to talk about how the loyalty between drug dealers and their operation is versus how the loyalty in the police department is. But before we get to that, I have to make this next point, because in the next scene, we see Patrick, the cop that got that Bodie hit last episode. He's retiring on medical, and he's retiring with 66 2/3 of his pension, and he doesn't have to wait for his 30, as he says. And then his partner said, that guy did you a favor. So think about that for a second. Patty is not really a good cop anymore, but he continues to be a cop because you have to stay in that job for 30 years before your benefits kick in, before they start taking care of you for life, and then you're allowed to retire. Think about that. Like, who wants to be at the same job for 30 years? I'm 32 right now, and that is the entirety of, that's my whole life so far. Everything I've experienced to this day would have been this man's career. The important thing about this scene is a lot of cops stay on because they want to get those benefits, as they should. They deserve it. They have a really tough job, but I think it's so far away that they could be mentally checked out of the job. You know, I feel like Patty has been mentally checked out of the job for a very long time, and that's what makes him a bad cop and not efficient at his job anymore, which is a problem, but he stays on because he needs those benefits eventually when he retires. And that's the problem with the system a little bit, of how maybe cops are paid or kind of kept on the hook, because who wants to be at the same job for 30 years, dude? That's crazy. And then Patty is encouraging his partner to commit fraud to join him on medical. And Patty's going to work with his brother-in-law at a video rental store, which that was a thing not too long ago. And, you know, his partner says, but Patty, they take that off the top of the medical pension. And Patty's like, if you report it as income, they do. Do I look that stupid? And so he knows how to play the system, and he's in it for the money, as he should be. He's an old guy. He needs to retire. He needs that safety net. So there's nothing wrong with his way of thinking, but that just goes to show you that maybe a lot of police officers, especially like the older ones, I think they're just kind of sticking around because they have to. They are not in it anymore, and that's a problem, because we need more police like McNulty and Daniels and Kima. So now with that point, I want to talk about like the loyalty between dealers and loyalty between the cops, because that guy who got arrested is willing to go to jail for 5 years. 1, out of fear, because he'll be killed if he talks. But 2, he knows he's going to be taken care of once he comes back out. Even in the previous episode, you see Stringer give D'Angelo a bonus for having done so good. And I know D'Angelo is a higher level player, but that's the thing is like, he's being taken care of, which motivates all of the people in that operation to work harder because they do see benefit from it. As opposed to the cops, which only see a true benefit after a very long period of time, but amidst their day-to-day, they're not really treated very well, which, why would that motivate them to be good at their jobs? You know what I mean? So it's a very interesting parallel to consider. And then we see the inside of the juvie center. It's not super hardcore. Adults aren't really paying attention. They're just kind of supervising. Bodhi just walks out. The front door is just a regular door. There's not a lot of security. And I'm going to connect this point again with a point that I'm going to make later. And then on their way is Carver and Herc driving to the juvie center to go talk to Bodhi. And it was just really interesting to listening to Carver fantasize about what he thinks is about to happen. He's like, we're going to go there. Bodhi's going to see us. He's going to be super scared, and he's going to talk immediately, and we're going to take all those names, and we're going to bust his case wide open, and we're going to be the heroes. It just shows you, like, his mentality about being a cop is, like, it's all for the glory, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with having pride in your work, but I think good police work should come first. But it was just interesting listening to Carver fantasize about what he thought was about to happen. And then we have Bubbles taking a ride with Kima, and they're talking about Omar. And Bubbles mentions somebody named No Heart Anthony Little. We get the last name. And Bubbles claims Omar is No Heart Anthony's brother. And then we jump to Omar, and he's got his own little operation going on. He's making good money, robbing drug dealers. And by the way, there's a man named Donnie Andrews. He died back in 2012, but Donnie Andrews is the real-life inspiration for Omar's character. And there's actually a lot of, there's other real-life inspirations for other characters in the show, and I hear that some of the real actual people make cameos in the show in very subtle ways, so I'll be on the lookout for that. But that was a cool little fun fact to learn, that some of the characters in the show and some of the stories in the show are kind of pulled from real life. So that makes it that much better, because what you're seeing on screen is essentially what happens. It's not a fictionalized world. This is what happens out there. But Omar's got his own little operation going. We see a little kid on his corner. I guess he's got his little part of the city where he's got his own crew and whatnot. And we see this lady come up to him and ask for help, and Omar helps her out. He gives her some money. So Omar is almost kind of seems like this Robin Hood character, only literally, because he's Robin in the hood. And we also pretty, I mean, they don't directly say it in this scene, but they say it in a later scene. We pretty much find out that Omar is gay, which completely flips what you may have thought of his character, because he's not a typical portrayal of a gay character on television at the time that this show aired. Usually, when you saw a gay, I mean, even today, when you see a gay character portrayed on television, it's usually a white male that's very flamboyant, and that's what you expect from a portrayal of a gay character. Is that a valid portrayal? Yes, because I've met people like that, but is that a valid portrayal of all gay characters? No, that's not at all. Gay people is not an identity to your personality. You can be any kind of a person and be gay, and I think that's what Omar's character is really interesting, because he's very macho, very manly, very everything you would consider to be like a manly man, but he's gay, so he challenges all of those stereotypes that people have become used to. And his character, I think, really shook things up. And even in the next scene, when Barksdale is playing basketball with Stringer, and they're talking about Omar, first Barksdale puts a hit out on him, and he sets a certain number of money. But then, when he finds out that Omar is gay, he triples the stakes, because it's embarrassing enough to get robbed, and it's even more embarrassing to get robbed by somebody that's gay, because for him that's a direct hit to his masculinity and his organization's masculinity, I guess. And it's just funny that he tripled the stakes after he found out that he was gay. And it's a very interesting dynamic, because everybody just makes fun of it, but Omar is the toughest dude so far. I mean, he doesn't fuck around, you know what I mean? And then we see Bubbles and McNulty hanging out, and then Bubbles gets to see the other side of town, as Leave It to Beaverland, as he calls it. And we get to see McNulty's wife and kid finally. With McNulty's job, he's not able to see his kid as much, and you kind of sympathize with McNulty here a little bit. He's trying. You sympathize with him. And there's some really good cinematography and some really good jump cuts in this episode. We see kids playing soccer on this very clean, pristine field on this very bright and shiny part of town. And then they jump cut immediately to the pit, and we see a group of kids playing basketball with a milk pallet that they stuck to the wall. It's like a makeshift hoop that they made, and they're playing in the mud, and it's just a very stark contrast, and the jump cutting is really, really good. And while we're in the pit, Dee talks about the murder that Bunk and McNulty are looking into. Dee pretty much admits it in this scene, and there's some again, with the cinematography, there's some really cool vertigo shots happening to really pull you into the story. And again, with the child exploitation and the child and the influence of this life, Dee is telling these kids, they're Bodie, Wallace, Poot, they've been in the life, they're in the life, but they're kids, man. They're still minors. Because Bodie went to juvie. If anybody was wondering how old Bodie was, he's not 18 yet. He went to juvie. So they're kids, and he's just sitting here talking about a murder, and that's the kind of influence that these kids in these communities have. And then we cut to Burrell in the judge's office, and Burrell is talking about how one of their trace labs, the freezer, broke, and blood samples from 56 homicides and 15 rapes went bad. And now those cases either can't be solved or have a lot working against them. So if you've ever heard of like, you know, like cases never being solved or wondering like why couldn't they just pull DNA or samples from the crime scene, I'm not saying all unsolved murders are like this, but probably some of them, shit like this happened where a sample went bad and the police isn't going to tell you when they fucked up. They'll probably just be like, oh, well, it was inconclusive. They're not going to admit to you that they're working with old technology, which, by the way, Burrell also says that the Trace Lab is 25 years old. This show came out in 2002 and it was portraying itself as a modern day drama. It wasn't playing like a period piece or anything. So by that math, in 2002, if their Trace Lab is 25 years old, they're working with technology from 1987. And also looking at the premiere date, this came out in 2002, which was like it right after, you know, 9/11 is still very, very fresh in this country. It's on everybody's mind. Bush is going ham in Iraq. The climate of the country was very vulnerable. I just remember there was just like this level of fear throughout the whole country because it was a time when, you know, we were no longer like untouchable. It was a very grave tragedy, and the war on terror and the war on drugs was like in full swing. So this show came out amidst all that, at the very peak of all that. So that was just another cool thing for me to learn exactly when this show came out with the timeline of what was happening in this country. I mean, this came out right when shit was hitting the fan, essentially, you know what I mean? And Burrell is also trying to schmooze the judge, create suction with him, and he's trying to show off the numbers, like, look at all these arrests we got, check it out, all these people, we did that. And the judge is like, I don't see Barksdale's name, and Burrell's like, well, you know, we didn't get Barksdale, but check it out, all these arrests, check it out. And luckily for the judge, that wasn't good enough, and he holds him accountable to keep going until he gets Barksdale. So it's lucky to have the judge staying on top of this and getting shit done, or, you know, commanding that shit gets done. And even though it's for self-preservation, because let's be honest, this is a huge case, and this is like a career-making case that can solidify that judge in the position that he's currently in or propel him to the next level. So even though he's holding Burrell accountable by means of self-preservation, at least it, you know, things are still getting done, and he's making them stay on top of it. So it's good that we have the judge. And then we cut to Herc and Carver busting into Bodie's grandmother's house. I'm assuming that was the grandmother, and they come in busting in, no warrant, just being very loud, guns pointed, just very aggressively just coming into this woman's house, and she's not even fazed by it. It's almost like this is like a regular occurrence that she's dealt with before, and it was just crazy that she's just not fazed by it at all. And we hear Carver and Herc just rummaging through Bodie's room upstairs, and then they come back down, and Carver leaves as disrespectfully as he came in. You know, he's like, tell Bodie we're on him. You know, tell Bodie we're gonna get him. And he leaves. Meanwhile, Herc stops, and he actually has the decency to apologize and be remorseful for how they came in. Now, it's interesting because Carver is black and Herc is white. And you would think that the grandmother being black would be more comfortable speaking with Carver over Herc. But we actually see the opposite in the scene, and it doesn't have anything to do with skin color. It has everything to do with respect. Carver left disrespectfully and threateningly, and the woman said nothing. Herc apologized and showed remorse, and she invited him to sit down and talk. She responded to respect. She responded to being treated like a human being. And that was just very, very a powerful moment. And then they talk about Bodie and how he's been pretty much unstable since he was 4 years old. And now I want to go back to the Juvie Center and connect the 2 points is children in these communities, they don't grow up like most of us grew up with like fairly normal lives. Like they're exposed to violence and drugs and death at a very early age in their very important formative years. Now, think about that. If let's just take Bodie for example. If he's been unstable since 4 years old and he's not even 18 yet, and he's stuck in this community because he's a kid. It's not like these kids can just pack up and go start a new life somewhere. They're stuck in these communities as long as their guardian figure or parent is stuck there as well. So what do you think that kind of persistent daily influence to like violence and crime does to your mind in your very, very important formative years? I know personal choice comes in at some point, but these kids to some degree have no choice but to grow up in this life, and it's fucked up because it definitely affects them. So when these kids do find them inside of a juvenile center, I think we need to be throwing more resources at the juvenile center, not to make it more secure, but more from the perspective of education. That is the opportunity to reach that kid and have a conversation with him. Try to lead them to a different path instead of just putting them in a room in timeout and supervising them and not paying attention to them and not empathizing with them. I know they might, it's subjective to the severity of the crime, but like, it just sucks, man. I think juvie is like the point where we could make a difference, and I don't know how things are done today, but it doesn't seem like they were doing enough back then. And I was just really, really proud of Herc in this scene because he apologizes one more time before he leaves, and it was just nice to see him have a moment of remorse, and we saw a different side of Herc in this scene and some growth from his character, so it was a really nice scene. And then we have Burrell and Daniels talking about the case, and they're talking about all the different things they've tried and what they could try. And this is where Daniels pitches that this case needs a wire. And it was a really cool scene because, again, the visual storytelling, Burrell is playing putt-putt in his office, and he's constantly missing every shot. And that's just a metaphor for all the different things he's thrown at this case and all the different tactics that he's tried, and nothing's worked yet. So it's time to try something new, something a little bit more drastic. And then we see Lester kind of messing with Dee, and it seems that Lester has found Dee's beeper number somehow, his pager number somehow, and we'll get to that later. But then we have the team talking about wiretaps and what it will take to get a wiretap, and this is where the law is kind of explained, because I think the general public, we think about wiretapping as just something as that they can just do, just tap their phone. We'll just listen to what they're saying, just tap their phone. But it's not that easy. That's actually like a last resort thing, because what you have to prove first is what they said is exhaustion. You have to prove that you have tried everything possible and nothing has worked, and then you're cleared to try privacy invasive maneuvers like that. And I don't know if at this time the Patriot Act had been signed or not, but that will probably come into play at some point if it already hasn't. But the Patriot Act was a big thing too at this time in America. But that was a really cool scene. We got to learn about kind of like the laws behind it. And it seems that Freeman found Dee's pager number because it was written on the wall of the stash house, which I don't know who did that, why they do that, that's so stupid. But everybody else missed it. I don't know, that phone number could have been written anywhere in that stash house. So what that tells you is while everybody, they arrested people and they left, Freeman stayed behind and he studied the crime scene and he studied everywhere and he looked everywhere and he was able to find that number written on the wall, which is consistent with his character because he's a very meticulous, detail-oriented person. So it's just good writing. Like the actions these characters take is always consistent with who they are as people. And of course, Freeman is the one to find the number when everybody else missed it. And then we have one of the coolest scenes from The Wire. Season 1 is the scene where Bunk and McNulty are figuring out the crime scene, and there's no talking in this scene. The only word they say is the word fuck or some variation of it. Other than that, there's no dialogue exchange. It's all visual storytelling, and it's so well done. And it's a really well-written scene. It's a well-acted scene, well-choreographed scene. You really step into the mind of McNulty and Bunk, and you really are with them solving this crime, which, by the way, is 6 months after the fact, and this crime scene has been cleaned up, and they're still able to figure it out, because the previous detective didn't do much with it. The file they had like 2 papers in it. So again, that was probably a detective who's been mentally checked out, but he's on the force because he has to be. But mentally, he's probably checked out. So he came to the scene, looked around, dead body, fill out the necessary paperwork, but my job's done. I did my requirements. He didn't go any further because there were a lot of things that were missed, including the slug that was stuck in the refrigerator, which how did anybody miss that? But when they get that slug out, they're able to ascertain the caliber of the bullet, which was, I think, a .45. And then they go into the back of the window, and they're familiar with weapons, and you know, when you fire a gun, the shell is going to launch out in different trajectories based on the caliber of the gun. So that's what you see Bunk doing with the tape measure, because he knows that's about how far a .45 caliber shell would fly out, and then they find the shell that way. Now, what are they going to do with that shell? Are they going to dust it for fingerprints? I don't remember, so I don't, but yeah, but it was just a really cool scene. You see the landlord above them being incredibly impressed with how they did it. It's just it was a really good scene and a very realistic portrayal of how police may handle a crime scene. It's not like, you know, CSI where it's like, I believe the victim was standing here when the, you know, blah blah blah. There's no exposition. It's so good. It's just really good. And then we have Freeman and McNulty getting a beer together and just learning more about Freeman. And he was on homicide, and he was booted because he did his job. he was good police, and he was booted for that. And it's like McNulty's in the same boat. He's under the gun because he's doing his job, and it's like it almost seems like good police work is punished. So why would anybody want to do good police work? None of the higher ups want to be bothered with any actual work, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to think that, but like that's kind of what they're portraying is like exemplary police work seems to be frowned upon because it always seems to get punished, and they stuck Lester in the pawn department, and luckily he's back. But it was cool to learn a little bit more about Freeman, and yeah, that is all my notes. Another fantastic episode. My notes are just getting longer and longer as the show goes on, because they're just packing more things into each episode, and I'm just noticing a lot of things. So glad you guys are enjoying it. I'll see you next week. If you haven't already done so, please like the video, comment, share, all that stuff, and I'll see you next week. Peace.
Thanks for watching The Wire with the Normies. Check us out on Patreon for early access and uncut content. Special shout out to our super patrons Explorin' Dylan, Nick, Ruby, Aaron, Michael Henry, Joe, I Eat Pink Tacos, Flower House, Keyboard Junkie, the NYR Fan, and ZJP, and we will see you all next time.